You are not trapped by your circumstances. You are trapped by the identity you keep defending, the habits you repeat, the standards you lower, the excuses you protect, and the people you allow to define you have built the man you are today. But that man is not permanent. He is a pattern, and patterns can be destroyed. Machiavelli understood that power belongs to those who can adapt before the world forces them to. Reinvention is not cosmetic. It is not a new routine, a new wardrobe, or a burst of motivation. It is the death of your old mindset, the raising of your standards, the construction of an identity so disciplined, controlled, and deliberate that your former self would not recognize you. But transformation has a price. You will have to disappoint people who benefited from your weakness. You will have to abandon habits that once comforted you. You will have to become cold toward every excuse that keeps you small. This is where your old life ends. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Now. Comment: I choose my new identity because from this moment forward, you are no longer improving the old you. You are replacing him. Number 1. Destroy the identity that keeps you weak. You cannot build a powerful life with an identity designed for survival. The old version of you was shaped by fear, rejection, failure, and the need to be accepted. He learned to stay quiet when he should have spoken. He learned to tolerate what should have been rejected. He learned to seek permission before becoming dangerous. That identity may have protected you once, but now it is limiting you. Reinvention begins when you stop treating your personality as permanent. You are not naturally lazy. You have practiced avoidance. You are not naturally insecure. You have repeated thoughts that weaken your self-image. You are not destined to remain undisciplined. You have simply allowed comfort to become your ruler. Machiavelli understood that survival belongs to the adaptable. The man who refuses to change becomes predictable, and the predictable man becomes controllable. People learn which words make you react. They learn how little attention it takes to pull you back. They learn what you will tolerate because you are afraid to lose them. Your old identity gives your enemies a map. Burn the map. Stop announcing who you used to be. Stop saying, "That is just how I am." Those words are chains disguised as honesty. Every time you repeat them, you give your past authority over your future. A disciplined man does not ask his history for permission to evolve. From now on, examine every habit as if it belongs to someone you are studying. Ask yourself, does this behavior create strength or expose weakness? Does this friendship sharpen me or distract me? Does this standard protect my future or betray it? Be ruthless in your assessment. Reinvention requires honesty without self-pity. You will lose parts of yourself during this process. Good. Lose the need to explain. Lose the hunger for approval. Lose the habit of returning to people who already proved they do not respect you. Lose the belief that potential alone makes you valuable. Your new identity must be earned through repeated evidence. Keep promises when no one is watching. Control your emotions when provoked. Leave situations that violate your standards. Work when motivation disappears. Each action becomes a vote for the man you are becoming. Comment: I no longer serve my past. Say it because the old you will not disappear politely. He will fight for survival. He will tempt you with comfort, nostalgia, and excuses. But every time he speaks, answer with action. You are not here to repair your former identity. You are here to replace it. Number 2, raise your standards until your old life cannot reach you. Your life does not rise to the level of your ambition. It falls to the level of what you are willing to tolerate. That is why most men remain trapped. They want power, discipline, respect, and freedom, yet they continue accepting weak habits, shallow relationships, wasted mornings, broken promises, and environments that reward mediocrity. They dream like kings, but negotiate like servants. Reinvention demands a new standard, not a temporary mood. not a list of goals you abandon when discomfort arrives. A standard is a line your weaker self is no longer allowed to cross. It decides how you speak, how you work, what you consume, who receives access to you, and what behavior immediately removes someone from your life. Machiavelli understood that authority is preserved through boundaries. A ruler who constantly changes his laws teaches people that his word has no weight. The same is true for you. Every time you promise yourself discipline and then surrender to impulse, you weaken your own authority. Every time you accept disrespect to avoid loneliness, you teach yourself that fear is stronger than dignity. That ends now. Set standards that make your old life impossible. Wake when you said you would wake. Finish what you begin. Do not chase people who become careless with your presence. Do not remain in rooms where your future is mocked. Do not reward inconsistency with unlimited access. Your standards must become so clear that even your emotions cannot negotiate them. People will call you difficult when they can no longer benefit from your lack of boundaries. They will say, "You have changed," when your obedience disappears. Let them speak. Reinvention is supposed to disturb those who were comfortable with the weaker version of you. But do not confuse standards with arrogance. Standards are not loud. They do not require threats, speeches, or constant explanation. They are demonstrated through decisions. You leave calmly. You refuse cleanly. You work silently. You stop arguing with people who have already revealed their values. Comment, "My standards protect my future." Say it because every new standard will cost you something: comfort, approval, familiarity, sometimes companionship. Pay the price. A cheap life is built through cheap decisions. A powerful identity is built every time you choose long-term respect over temporary relief. Raise your standards high enough, and the life that once controlled you will no longer recognize where you live. Number 3. Reprogram the mind that keeps returning to weakness. Your identity is not changed by what you desire. It is changed by what you repeatedly tell yourself when no one is listening. The private voice inside your mind is either constructing your future or quietly rebuilding your prison. Every excuse you repeat becomes a command. Every fear you entertain becomes a boundary. Every negative belief you accept becomes another invisible law governing your behavior. This is why reinvention must begin inside the mind. You cannot speak like a defeated man and expect to move like a ruler. You cannot constantly imagine failure and then wonder why you hesitate. You cannot feed your mind distraction, comparison, resentment, and insecurity while expecting discipline to grow from the poison. Your mind becomes what it consumes, rehearses, and rewards. Machiavelli understood that whoever controls the narrative controls perception. Apply that truth to yourself. Control the narrative of your own life. Stop describing yourself through your worst moments. Stop treating old failures as proof of permanent limitation. Stop turning temporary emotions into permanent identities. You failed. That does not make you a failure. You were betrayed. That does not make you powerless. You wasted time. That does not mean your future must be wasted too. A weak mind experiences a painful event and builds an identity around it. A strategic mind extracts the lesson, removes the emotion, and becomes more difficult to defeat. That is what you must do. Study your past without living inside it. Take the intelligence, leave the shame. From this moment forward, become selective about the thoughts you allow to stay. Not every thought deserves belief. Some thoughts are merely old conditioning searching for another opportunity to control you. When your mind says, "You cannot do this," do not argue emotionally. Answer through evidence. Complete the task. Keep the promise. Enter the room. Make the decision. Action is the most powerful form of mental reprogramming. You must also stop feeding the mind with constant noise. A distracted man cannot reinvent himself because he never remains still long enough to see what is controlling him. Silence exposes your addictions. It reveals your fears. It shows you how often you reach for entertainment to avoid confronting yourself. Sit with that discomfort. Observe your reactions. Study what triggers your insecurity, anger, jealousy, or need for validation. Every emotional trigger reveals a place where someone else can control you. Do not hate yourself for it. Train it out of you. Replace impulsive thinking with deliberate thinking. Before reacting, pause. Before speaking, measure the consequence. Before chasing, ask what you are sacrificing. Before quitting, remember the identity you are building. Comment, "My mind obeys my direction." Repeat it until your actions support it. Your thoughts must stop operating like wild commands and begin serving a chosen purpose. You are not required to believe every fear that enters your head. You are not required to obey every emotion that demands relief. The new you thinks differently because he refuses to let temporary discomfort decide permanent outcomes. Control your inner narrative, and eventually your outer reality will have no choice but to follow. Number 4. Build an identity that cannot be negotiated. Most men change their behavior only when they feel inspired. That is why their transformation never survives pressure. They wake early when motivation is high, speak confidently when the room feels safe, and hold their standards only when nothing valuable is at risk. The moment discomfort arrives, the old identity returns and takes command. Reinvention becomes real only when your new identity remains intact under pressure. You must decide who you are before life tests you. Do not wait until temptation appears to choose discipline. Do not wait until disrespect appears to choose dignity. Do not wait until loneliness appears to choose self-respect. Decisions made inside emotional storms are usually controlled by fear. Decide your laws while your mind is clear, then obey them when your emotions become loud. Machiavelli understood that authority collapses when rules are enforced inconsistently. A ruler who changes his principles every time the crowd becomes angry teaches the crowd that pressure works. The same law governs your inner world. Each time you abandon your standards because you are tired, anxious, tempted, or afraid, you teach your impulses that resistance is temporary. You train weakness to keep pushing until you surrender. Your identity must become a private constitution. It must contain rules that do not depend on mood, applause, convenience, or permission. You do what must be done because that is who you are now. You control your speech because careless words expose your mind. You control your appetite because uncontrolled desire creates predictable behavior. You control your time because anyone who can waste your attention can weaken your future. This is not about becoming emotionless. It is about refusing to let emotion hold executive power. You may feel anger without obeying it. You may feel fear without retreating. You may feel loneliness without returning to people who damaged your peace. You may feel exhausted without betraying the promise you made to yourself. Feelings can speak, but they do not get the final decision. That is what makes a man difficult to manipulate. Define yourself through evidence. Do not say you are disciplined while negotiating with laziness. Do not say you are calm while every insult commands your attention. Do not say you value yourself while begging for access to people who treat you as optional. Every morning, ask yourself one question. What would the man I am becoming refuse to do today? He would refuse to waste the first hours of the day in distraction. He would refuse to speak impulsively just to release tension. He would refuse to lower his standards because someone could not recognize his value. He would refuse to trade long-term strength for short-term comfort. He would refuse to betray himself just to avoid being alone. Then ask, what would that man do even if no one noticed? He would train. He would study. He would organize his life. He would finish difficult work. He would protect his health. He would practice restraint. He would prepare quietly for opportunities that have not yet appeared. This is how identity becomes undeniable, not through dramatic declarations, but through private repetitions. The man you become in public is built during moments no one rewards. Your invisible choices are constructing your visible future. Comment, my identity is not negotiable. Understand the weight of those words. They mean you no longer allow temporary emotions to rewrite permanent standards. Your loneliness cannot make you desperate. Your anger cannot make you reckless. Your success cannot make you careless. Your failure cannot make you surrender. You remain governed by principle. Some people will test this new identity. They will bring up your past, hoping to pull you back into it. They will mock your discipline or provoke the reactions they once understood. Do not defend yourself. Let consistency become your answer. Nothing confuses people more than discovering that the old buttons no longer work. The strongest reinvention is silent. You stop explaining who you are becoming and simply become him. Day after day, decision after decision, the old identity loses oxygen. Eventually, the habits that once required effort begin to feel natural. Discipline becomes self-respect. Silence becomes strength. Boundaries become instinct. Focus becomes protection. Then one day, you look back and realize the person you used to be can no longer understand the life you have built. You are not reinventing yourself to impress the world. You are rebuilding yourself so completely that the world must approach you differently. Your identity becomes a fortress. Your standards become guards. Your discipline becomes law. And once that law is established, no temptation, rejection, betrayal, or moment of weakness will be permitted to overthrow the man you chose to become forever. Number 5. Remove everything that reinforces the old you. You cannot become a new man while living inside a system designed to recreate the old one. Your environment is not neutral. The people around you, the content you consume, the places you visit, and the routines you repeat are constantly shaping your identity. If everything around you supports distraction, weakness, and low standards, willpower alone will not save you. Reinvention requires elimination. Remove the habits that make you ashamed of yourself. Remove the conversations that leave your mind polluted. Remove easy access to every temptation that repeatedly defeats your discipline. Stop acting surprised when the same environment produces the same behavior. A man who wants a different future must build conditions that make his old choices harder. Machiavelli understood that power depends on controlling the territory. Your mind is your territory, but your surroundings determine how often it is invaded. Every notification steals attention. Every negative voice plants doubt. Every undisciplined friend makes weakness look normal. Every hour of meaningless consumption trains you to observe life instead of directing it. Protect your territory. You may need to distance yourself from people you once considered permanent. Not because you hate them, but because they are loyal to a version of you that no longer exists. Some people will remind you of your failures whenever you begin gaining confidence. Others will tempt you back into old habits because your growth exposes their stagnation. Do not argue with them. Create distance. Your transformation does not require everyone's understanding. It requires your commitment. You cannot keep sacrificing your future to preserve relationships built around your weakness. Access to you must now be earned through respect, consistency, and shared standards. Clean your physical space, structure your mornings, control what enters your mind, prepare your work before motivation arrives, make discipline easier and self-destruction inconvenient. A strategic man does not depend on constant self-control. He removes unnecessary battles before they begin. Comment: my environment serves my evolution. Say it, then examine your life honestly. What keeps pulling you backward? Who benefits when you remain distracted? Which routines make you feel powerless? Identify them, remove them, replace them. Reinvention is not only about adding better habits, it is about cutting every invisible rope tied to your former identity. The more you eliminate, the more clearly your new direction appears. You do not need more motivation. You need fewer exits. Build a life where returning to weakness becomes difficult, embarrassing, and eventually impossible. Number 6. Act before you feel like the new man. The final trap of reinvention is waiting to feel transformed before you begin behaving differently. That feeling may never arrive. Confidence does not come first. Evidence does. You become decisive by making decisions. You become disciplined by acting when comfort tells you to stop. You become powerful by proving repeatedly that your emotions no longer control your direction. Machiavelli knew that hesitation exposes weakness. The world does not pause while you prepare internally. Opportunities close. Rivals move. Time continues. If you wait until fear disappears, you will remain exactly where fear placed you. Move while uncertain. Speak with control even when your heart is racing. Enter the room before you feel worthy of it. Start the work before inspiration appears. End the relationship when your standards are repeatedly violated. Every difficult action sends a message to your mind. The old identity is no longer in command. Do not seek dramatic change. Seek undeniable evidence. One completed promise, one controlled reaction, 1 hour used with purpose, one temptation refused. These victories appear small, but identity is built through accumulation. What you repeat becomes familiar. What becomes familiar eventually becomes natural. Stop measuring progress by how motivated you feel. Measure it by how differently you respond. The old you reacted, the new you observes. The old you chased, the new you chooses. The old you waited for permission, the new you acts according to principle. There will be days when you feel nothing like the person you are trying to become. Those days matter most. Anyone can perform strength while feeling strong. Reinvention is proven when you remain disciplined while feeling weak. Your feelings will eventually follow your actions, but they must never lead them. Walk first. Let confidence catch up. The man you practice becoming today becomes your permanent nature tomorrow. Number 7. Let your silence introduce the new you. Once you begin changing, resist the urge to announce it. Weak men describe the person they intend to become. Powerful men allow their actions to reveal what has already changed. Every promise made publicly gives your mind a false sense of achievement. You speak about discipline, ambition, and reinvention, then receive attention before producing results. The hunger disappears because your ego has already been rewarded. Become quieter. Machiavelli understood that mystery protects power. When people know every plan, every fear, and every intention, they can predict your movements. When they cannot read you, they must respond carefully. Reinvention becomes more powerful when it happens beyond the reach of outside opinions. Stop explaining your new boundaries. Enforce them. Stop warning people that you are becoming distant. Withdraw your attention. Stop describing your goals to those who have never respected your potential. Build privately until your results make explanation unnecessary. People will attempt to pull information from you. They will ask why you have changed, where you are going, and what you are planning. Give them less. Not because you are afraid, but because everything valuable does not require public access. Your future must be protected while it is still being constructed. Silence also prevents you from becoming trapped by other people's expectations. The moment you announce a new identity, some will encourage you, others will mock you, and many will quietly wait for you to fail. None of those reactions should guide your decisions. You are not rebuilding yourself to create a performance. You are rebuilding yourself to create power. Let them misunderstand your silence. Let them assume you are doing nothing. Underestimation is an advantage when used correctly. While they believe you are still the same man, you are sharpening your mind, strengthening your body, improving your skills, and removing every weakness they once recognized. Then your results appear without warning. Your speech becomes measured. Your presence becomes heavier. Your time becomes protected. Your choices become difficult to influence. People notice that you no longer react, chase, overshare, or seek approval. They feel the difference before they understand it. That is real reinvention. Do not demand recognition for your growth. Recognition makes you dependent on witnesses. Become proud of victories that no one sees. The early mornings, the controlled impulses, the private sacrifices, the decisions that protect your future. Let silence hide the construction. Let discipline complete it. And when the world finally notices that you have changed, make sure the old version of you is already too far away to be recovered. Reinvention is not a moment. It is a war fought through decisions no one sees. The old version of you will not disappear after one powerful morning. He will return when you are tired, when you are rejected, when your progress feels invisible, when comfort offers you an easier path. He will whisper that you have already done enough. Do not listen. You now understand the truth. Your mindset determines what you believe is possible. Your standards determine what you tolerate. Your identity determines what you repeatedly become. Change all three, and your entire life must change with them. From this moment forward, stop asking whether you feel ready. Readiness is irrelevant. The man you are becoming does not wait for perfect conditions. He acts with discipline. He protects his attention. He controls his reactions. He removes what weakens him and builds what makes him difficult to replace. Some people will not recognize you anymore. Let them remain confused. Some will say you have become colder. What they mean is that you are no longer easy to manipulate. Some will accuse you of changing. Agree with them. You were supposed to change. You were never meant to carry the same fears, habits, standards, and identity for the rest of your life. You were meant to adapt, to sharpen yourself, to become more controlled, more strategic, and more powerful with every lesson. So leave the old version of you where he belongs, in the past. Do not revisit him for comfort. Do not resurrect him for people who refuse to accept your growth. Keep moving until your discipline becomes your reputation, your silence becomes your protection, and your presence reveals that you are no longer the man who can be controlled through weakness. Comment, "I have become someone new." Write it as a declaration. Then prove it through your actions. And if this message awakened something inside you, like this video, subscribe to Psygrythm and turn on notifications. Because the world does not fear the man who talks about changing. It fears the man who changes completely and never returns.